What's up, guys? It's Tyler with Hook Sets Are Free. Hope you're having a good evening, good morning, good day, whatever time it is that you're watching this. I am just starting a live stream here on YouTube. I'm going to start over on Instagram right now as well. And we're just going to go ahead and unbox a couple of packages that I've got that came in over the last couple of days that I haven't yet opened. So just wanted to show you a couple of things. One, what I got in my monthly discount tackle unboxing, and two, what I got in a special little deal off of Land Big Fish. So anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. I've got people on Instagram here, people on YouTube here. Matt's Fish Mission. What's up, dude? Hope you're having a good night. Outdoors with Anthony. What is up, dude? Matt Schaefer. What up? So guys, as people start pouring in here a little bit, I'm going to let you know we got two packages. One is from Discount Tackle, pretty small package. So as you'll be able to see, there are fewer lures in here, worth a little bit more, and pretty cool baits that I got in my monthly Discount Tackle unboxing, or monthly Discount Tackle package, I should say. And the other is from Land Big Fish. So our buddy Ray, Kid Iraq over on YouTube, let me know that the Fire Craw jackhammer was in stock about a week ago on Land Big Fish. So I initially put two in my cart and then started browsing around Land Big Fish to see what else they had in stock. And it was pretty freaking wild to see that they have an incredible selection of Zoom soft plastics, and the colors that they have out of this world. So Aiden Evans, what's up? Wyatt Long, Matt Schaefer, Willie Joe. Darren, what's up, dude? Glad you could hop in tonight as well, man. Well, I'm glad to hear it. Puts a smile on my face to be in here as well, man. I have been pretty sick the last 48 hours, so I am just now over the hump. Just now considering dabbling in drinking a beer. So Matt says Colorado treated him well. First pike, first walleye, first brown trout, and about 60 pounds of bass. Right on, dude. That sounds awesome. What part of town were you in, Matt? It sounds great that you had such a multi-species experience. Glad to hear it, man. Monster Mouth Fishing says, what's the best way to DM someone to get a sponsor? What do you mean, best way to DM someone? I wouldn't DM someone if you're trying to get a sponsor unless you're the one providing the products. But if you want to be a sponsor, if you want to sponsor someone's product, rather, you need to do a little bit more than just send a DM, most likely. You should call, send an email, and gather a little bit more of a presentation about yourself and why they should consider working with you or having a conversation about sponsoring you. But that is something that I want to get more into, and something that came up last night on Ben Nowak's channel, The Smallmouth Experience, over on YouTube. He streamed live for like the first time last night, making a couple baits with his new Do It mold stuff, and he was saying he's going to maybe do a live stream series called Bourbon and Bass, which obviously you guys know I'm all about. Will Perriman in the building. You know I'm all about that, dude. Bourbon and Bass. Ben Nowak is a bourbon drinker as well, apparently. So I suggested a topic for him to talk about, and that being sponsorships, since he has been in that game for a few years and has now gone through a couple different rod and reel manufacturers and bait makers and things like that. So shoot, what package should I start with, guys? Well, Outdoors with Anthony, that's very generous of you to say. I appreciate that. I don't make enough videos to deserve more subs, but I appreciate you saying that, and I'm glad you like the videos. Justin Hamilton, caught me live, man. Good to see you in here, dude. Appreciate it. Darren says, just started to get part of my order from BPS. Can't wait to get my Ned Rig gear. Right on. Darren wants to start with the discount tackle package, and we will do that. Riley is in the building. What's up, Riley? I did not go to boot camp. Here's the deal, guys. As you can see, I've got very short hair. I've done this a number of times in the past before, but since COVID, my wife has now cut my hair twice, and she did a great job last time. But the other day when she tried cutting it, she lost her confidence halfway in, and it started looking all funky, and she gave up once she got to the front. So literally, we just buzzed it all off, made it same length on the top as it is on the side. So it is what it is. I'm gonna have to give it a few weeks to grow in before I can do anything with it. I'm gonna wear a hat most of the time anyway, and it'll allow me to get a proper tan on my forehead. So, Monster Mouth Fishing. What's the best way to get followers on Instagram, dude? Best way to get followers is to post 1, 2, or 3 times every day, and to use upwards of 30 hashtags that are, you're allowed to use 30 hashtags per post on Instagram. The more you use, the better. You want to use hashtags that are somewhere in the thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and use 30 of them. Pay attention to some of my posts and what other people who are growing fast are doing in their posts, and you want to post frequently. That's my biggest advice for you, Monster Mouth. So let's start with discount tackle, guys, because that's what Darren and Justin want. And this is what I'm a little bit more strategic about every single month. So looking for lunkers in the building. What up, dude? Kate Stevens, what up? Okay, guys, I'm just going to start pulling things out. First is the Yamamoto Seiko. As everybody knows, this is one of the best, if not the best, chatterbait trailers on the market. This color here is called Green Pumpkin. Is it called Green Pumpkin Chartreuse? It doesn't say. Color number is 192. But this right here was made for really the Beehite Delight color jackhammer, which I know I've got one close by. I'll rig it up for you guys shortly, most likely. I hate to have to leave the trailer on there, but this color matches up just perfect on the jackhammer Beehite Delight. So had to get me a pack of those. I've got a few colors in this trailer already, but with discount tackle, you do save a little bit of money. So I think you pay just a little bit less than $6 for the pack there. Kate Stevens, my buddy, caught a 3-pounder today. I caught a 211. Good for you guys, man. Sounds like a fun day on the water. Okay. Looks like this is one of 2 wake baits that I've got. And this is from Yo-Zuri, the 3DB. No, sorry, this is the 3DR, as you can see. They make a 3DB and a 3DR. I don't know what the difference is, other than the finish on them. So the color schemes are just a little bit different. The 3DB were all sold out on discount tackle, but these 3DR ones were in stock. So decided to grab a couple of them. I want to say these are in the ballpark of $7 a pop, and they are absolutely gorgeous finishes on these things. Quality hooks and super beautiful 3D holographic finishes on these wake baits. And as you can see, the belly has a ton of detail when it comes to the scales. Like I said, we've got pretty good sticky, sharp hooks on there. 3D holographic eyes. Just a quality bait. So this is going to go into the arsenal alongside some of the other wake baits that I've added to the arsenal in the past year and really am starting to throw a bit more. So that includes the Strike King 2.5 wake bait, and of course all of the rat baits and things like that. But I've also been throwing one other wake bait that's not coming to my mind at the moment. So anyway, I just plan to get more into wake baits. So I got two colors. I think this one was a bluegill color. It's called the, shoot, this is so Japanese that I don't know that you're going to have anything on here unless I look at the piece of paper later. So let me dig out the second one. Yeah, so this one I think is a bluegill of some kind, and this is a gizzard shad. Whoops, just ripped that right off. So homies on YouTube, are you guys still there? Haven't seen any comments rolling in the last 2 minutes. Maybe you guys are mesmerized by these baits, but you tell me. Alex, Cade, what's up, dudes? Cade says, what's a good trailer for a chatterbait? I just showed one, man. You want something with a straight tail and more of a swim bait or, soft jerkbait style body. Bait fish style profile with a straight tail. You could throw a swim bait, but you either want to rig it upside down or you want to chop off the tail. So again, this is a holographic finish to imitate a gizzard shad. Would be awesome in the right sunlight conditions. So same deal. The rattle on this thing, it's very high pitch relative to the other wake baits that I have. Here's the other one. This is the 6th Sense Movement 80 wake bait. So you can hear much more of a knock in this one, as is the case with the Strike King KVD 2.5 wake. So I'm excited to add these into the arsenal, not only because of the cool finishes, but also because of that different higher pitch sounding rattle. So got two wake baits. Got two jerk baits. These were on clearance, and they might still be if you guys look on Discount Tackle right now. One of you guys, if you wouldn't mind doing so, one of you homies on YouTube, quickly hop over on Discount Tackle on their homepage and scroll down. They have a closeout button or page where you can check these out. The dual hardcore stuff is all going for $5 a pop. So really good deal. And I'm going to show you just one of these baits right now. I could pull out another one that I have in my box already, but there's a reason that I got this one specifically. And this is the smaller size of the dual hardcore minnow. This is called the flat minnow. I have it in the 110 size. This is the 95, but believe it or not, this 95 size comes with 3 treble hooks on it. So I am super jazzed about that. I have it in the 110 already, and it's a good jerkbait, especially for, I think it maybe retails for, I don't know, somewhere in the ballpark of $10 or $15. And for whatever reason, they've just gone on sale recently, are more on clearance. They've got good hooks on them. They're lighter wire, but this is like a pro blue finish. Look at that. I mean, come on. And I mean, it's more of a bite size, but your hookup ratio is going to go up significantly when you compare this to, a Lucky Craft Pointer 100, or anything in the 90 to 100 size that is usually a smaller size jerkbait. There's always 2 hooks, so it's really rare to have a 3-hook jerkbait in this size class. And I like the rattle and the weight transfer in here. It is magnetic, so the casting distance on these things are legit. It suspends quite well, right in that average depth. I want to say 4 to 7 feet. I don't know that it's going to say here right now, but anyway, I got this in 2 colors. That pro blue, and then this one is more of a metallic. Oh shoot! Got myself a little bit. This is like a metallic IU. Will Perriman, I haven't really thrown the 6th Sense movements enough. I just got that one this year, and I've only tied it on a couple times. But no, I haven't had success with it. I haven't put enough time into it, quite frankly. That's a big problem that I have, is just wanting to try new things and being limited on time. You know, I get impatient. I only give a bait 10 minutes at a given spot, and I'd rather retie and stay at the same spot than keep it tied on and be on the move all the time. So that's just something that I'm guilty of. I can't undo these hooks for whatever reason, but check out the finish on this little metallic IU. So obviously it's got that brown back, more of a silvery pearl belly, and then just that super flashy side with that yellow dot up front. So you got your clear water, sunny, little bit dirtier conditions, I'd throw this flashy one, but you could throw them in similar conditions, and both are going to do quite well. So 3-hook jerkbait, small size, pretty excited about it. They're on sale for $5 a pop. Did anybody say in the comment section whether those are still on sale for $5 or no? Russ Dennis, dude. What do I think about Seaguar and Vizex? I think it's really good line. I think it's a little bit more, not only is it more durable, but I think it's longer lasting than a lot of other fluorocarbon lines. I find that I don't have to spool it up quite as frequently. But really tough line. 15-pound Seaguar and Vizex is killer for dragging baits. Guggen Slayer, what's up, dude? Robert Sharp, Yo-Zuri, great looking life baits. Yeah, Yo-Zuri and Dual Hardcore are actually owned by the same company, believe it or not. So if you go on Yo-Zuri's website, you can just check out Dual Hardcore's baits. So again, I don't know why their baits are going on sale or not selling as well in the U.S. right now, but they are very similar to Yo-Zuri. They're Japanese made, very high quality, attention to detail, and pretty affordable in the first place. And they're on clearance right now. So I highly recommend that you check them out and scoop them up if you can. I mean, $5 for any jerkbait is a damn good deal, let alone a downsized 3-hook version that casts well, suspends well, and will last a while. It's a flat-sided jerkbait too. Didn't really show you guys that up close, just how aggressive the body shape is, but it's got some cool action in the water. So Riley, why are you on over on Instagram instead of on YouTube? I thought you were on YouTube already. I can't follow the comments as well on YouTube, so, or on Instagram. So I'm gonna really stop reading them and move on to these ones on YouTube. Riley, what are you doing? So next up is the Berkley Chapo. Okay, guys, I recently got one of these, maybe even in last month's unboxing. I don't remember, but I got you, Riley. You're on both. You just, when I do this, you want to be able to see it on Instagram and that on YouTube. I hear you. So this is the Berkley Chapo 120. I've said it before. I like all 3 sizes. They make it in a 90, a 105, and a 120. But this 120 is really the deal in my opinion. It weighs an ounce. It's just shy of 5 inches, and it puts out a ton of commotion. It casts well. It's not too heavy. You can throw this on a medium heavy or a heavy stick. And only thing that people have mentioned before, and I would totally agree with this tail is a bit more fragile because it's totally plastic. You hear it against my ring? I mean, if you cast this and it hits the rocks, it is likely to break. An old school whopper plopper is a little bit more durable than a Chapo. So this, you got to think of this more as an open water bait. You know, I would throw my whopper plopper sometimes right up shallow on the bank. It takes some chances. I would not do that with the Chapo. So anyway, Berkley Chapo retails for $10 a pop, guys. Whopper plopper starts at $13, and at this size, I think once you get to the 110, you're paying a little bit more, like $15. So retails at 10, but Discount Tackle has it on sale for $8 and change. So guys, check out the Berkley Chapo. If you don't already have them in your box, you need to get them for sure. Darren says Concept A was $85 on Carl's, but when I went to order it, they only had it in the 8:1 to 1 speed. Man, maybe you should have still gotten it. That's a good deal. Justin says, just got my Biospawn Exo pods from Carl's. 3 packs. Also 2 packs of Zoom Ultra Vibe Speed Craws and a pack of Heavy Metal 1/16 ounce or 1/10 ounce tungsten Ned heads. I like the idea with the tungsten Ned heads. Love the Ultra Vibe Speed Craws. You're going to see 1 pack coming up in my next unboxing in a couple minutes. And I'm interested, you know, those Exopods are really just a knockoff of the Rage Menace Grub, which there's a ton of those on the market now. So, Corey, Eat World, I'm just drinking a Coors Original. Coors Heavy Banquet beer, baby. Okay. Where's the OG fam at, says Riley. I don't know. Ryan in the house. He's OG fam. Good to see you, Ryan. Okay, guys. This is something that I'm pumped about, and I've shown you guys this. Cheers to you as well, Corey. Megabass Spark Shad, 3-inch. And you know what it matches up with. You already know. Megabass Okashira Screwhead. This combo right here, guys, I can't help it. I'm gonna rig one up right now for you. It's that good that I can't not see how it looks right this second. Even though I've got some in the other color. Again, this is the 1/16 ounce size. It is the lightest weight. It would probably not be my preference. They also make it in a 1/8, and then they make it in heavier weights, like a 1/4 and a 3/8. But this 1/16 they make in a 2/0 and a 3/0 hook. So this is the 3/0 hook. It's a bigger hook and a lighter weight. So I'm going to fish this shallow for the most part. Darren says, I was finishing up school and I needed a 98.2 at the least to get an A for the year. I made a bet with my mom to help buy me a new bait caster. Ended up with a 97.6, so I'm mad. No way, bro. Sorry about it, Darren. 97.6 is pretty good, though. Been working at my ice cream store down my street. Okay, Darren. Getting money toward an affordable but good quality reel. I hear you. Well, maybe we should continue to discuss options. Depends on what you consider affordable. What's your budget, man? What are you willing to spend? Yeah, Justin, I did get a haircut. My wife gave it to me. You can thank quarantine for the short hair. I should have worn a hat, quite frankly. I knew you OG crew would give me a hard time about it tonight. All right, guys. So, as usual, just going to line it up. Make a tiny little mark in the back, just so that I know where to come out. And I'm going to thread this on as straight as possible without going too deep. And again, this has a really good bait keeper on here. So you don't want to be going on, off, or you're going to rip the bait a bit, especially because these spark shads are pretty salty. So just want to do it in one go as well as you possibly can. And here's the thing, if you push it up too far, you'll see that the prop does not spin. So you pull it back to where it needs to be, and that prop will spin. So as you can see, I rigged it too far back. So I've got two options here. I can either pull it off and re-rig, or I can rip the bait a little bit. It's a tough decision to make, but I'm going to risk the head of the bait. Just personal preference. And one more push up there, and we should be good this time. Aha! Absolutely gorgeous looking rig here. I can't even pronounce the color of this swim bait, but it is spelled H-I-U-O. Wio, maybe it's called in Japanese. But this is a very white, kind of bright white, translucent white, glimmering type of color. And it is sold out most of the time, most places, but was in stock at Discount Tackle in the 3-inch, and as was the screw head that matches up with it. So the screw head color is called Spawn Kill, that white head with the red eyes. Again, like I said, this comes in a 1/16 ounce, a 1/8, a 1/4, and a 3/8, 2/0, 3/0, 4/0, 5/0. I got this in the 1/16 with the 3/0, and pretty pumped to have it. It's the same size that I have in the black ones, and I've got the the black shad pattern one. So nice to have both of these. This is going to be kind of how I dip my toes into the spy baiting game this year. I don't really own any spy baits or plan to get into it much this year. So the screw heads and the swim baits, though, are a killer combo and something that I plan to throw a fair amount this summer once things get a little bit tough. So that'll be a search bait that I throw in the upper portion of the water column before getting too aggressive. Darren says around $100, give or take. Okay. Well, then we can have a good conversation, man. Dugan Slayer, Spark Shad is a secret clear water drop shot bait for me. Interesting. Drop shot bait. I don't know that I've actually rigged this on a drop shot and looked at what it looks like underwater, but I would imagine it's pretty killer, especially if you're dragging or swimming a drop shot and not so much just leaving it in place. But that's a good idea for sure. So I think we're coming down to the end of this package. Yep. Last thing, guys. This is a new swim bait on the market as of, I don't know, a few months ago, I think. Maybe it was released at the Bassmaster Classic. I'm a little disappointed that I'm going to have to destroy the packaging to just get one of these baits out. This is the 13 Fishing Coalition baits. I guess they're like, it's a collaboration, but this is the Banff shad. They make it in two sizes. This is the 5 1/4, and they also make it in like an 8-inch. This size comes in a 2-pack, and the larger size comes in a 1. So unfortunately, I can't see how to get in here without totally ruining this guy. And whatever, you got to do what you got to do. So it says they recommend a 6/0 owner beast. I could probably get my hands on one of those pretty easily. So I'm going to open the bottom of the package so as to access one of these baits, and then maybe still be able to hang up the package if I want to. Looks like they also included some little nail weights or something. I don't know what the hell these are. They say nose anchor. What? So I don't know how this anchors the nose. It literally looks like a tiny little plastic nail weight, and they call it a nose anchor. So I don't know where that comes into play or how necessary it is to use that. Might need to look that up. Oh, look at this. So it shows literally like an X. Like maybe you would put an X on the nose with two of these anchors so as to keep the nose of your hook from ripping out of the front of the bait. I guess that kind of makes sense. So here's the bait, 5 1/4 inches. Interesting tail on this bait, okay? There's not a lot of swim baits on the market with this kind of split tail design. But I'm a little surprised at how durable feeling and how not super, super thin the plastic is. It seems well made, and it seems pretty realistic as well. No, dude, Colin, I don't think it's to adjust the rate of fall. They're literally just plastic. They're not nail weights. They don't weigh anything. So it says they're called nose anchors. Did you see that, dude? It says nose anchor, and then it's just got this X showing them. So I'm not sure what kind of hook you'd be using since it says to use a 6/0 owner beast, and it shows you to literally just screw it into the nose. So I don't get why these nose anchors are here, but check out how realistic of a shad this looks like. Very cool. If you look, you can see there's a little bit of a hook slot on the top. I don't mean a little bit of a hook slot. There's a lot, but it's not super deep. You know, it's maybe it's less than 1/8 of an inch. It's not deep, but it's deep enough to hold a big hook like the 6/0 beast. Now the belly is wide open. I mean, I can stick multiple fingers in there. This thing is gaping. So I wonder. I think hookup ratio would be fantastic on this thing. Let me go ahead and just find a 6/0 beast hook. Let's poke around for a second. This is definitely one. I don't know where those other guys are right now, but I'll take it off of this Magdraft Freestyle for the moment. And now I've upgraded the CPS spring on the 6/0 beast to the large size, which is essentially the size that you get on the 8/0 and larger. Just it holds so much better in large body baits, and so I got that advice from Tactical Bassin, I don't know, a year or two ago, and immediately stocked up on the large size CPS springs from Owner, and haven't looked back when using, you know, the 6/0 and the 8/0 beast hooks. But when I'm using the 4/0 and when I'm using some specific baits, like it's borderline on this Magdraft Freestyle because the bait's not quite thick enough. You know, you have to screw that large spring in just perfectly for it to not be poking out one of the sides of the head and then wanting to twist it up just ever so slightly. So you do have to be careful of that, and you don't want to have to be messing with screwing and unscrewing and screwing and unscrewing all the time. So anyway, let's just double check where this ought to come out. Do it like this so you guys can see. It's going to be just at the back end of the hook slot, which is cool. So I'm going to slide this baby in, and bend it all the way back. And I'm going to come out at the very tail end of that hook slot. Maybe even too far back. But essentially, here is what the bait looks like rigged. And I think that's going to do quite nice. So again, that's a 6/0 Owner Beast 1/4 ounce weight. And this is a 5 1/4 inch swim bait that you can swim very, very slow due to that tail. It's very similar to, Will, help me. What is the, the trash fish? It has a tail like this. Can anybody else help me out? What has a split tail like this on the market? I think it's the trash fish. But anyway, I'd kind of been looking at these for a while, and they had been selling out like every time they would come back in stock everywhere. And so seeing them on Discount Tackle and in stock in a couple colors and a couple sizes, I decided to try them out. In this smaller size, you get 2 in a pack. So I figured might as well give them a shot, even though I think the 8-inch size would have some more drawing power and maybe even be a more appropriate size bait in the bodies of water that I fish that have gizzard shad. I think I'm more likely to throw this 5-inch more frequently, because total weight on this thing, if I had to guess, is just barely over an ounce. Like, I'm going to weigh it for you guys right now. Like I said, 1/4 ounce weight, 35 grams. So that's going to be, what, 1 1/4 ounces? Yeah, 1.25. 1.25 ounces on this guy. So this color is like purple shad. They only have a couple colors out. This is like my second choice of 3 colors, but you deal with what you got. And I'm excited to try this bait. So that concludes the Discount Tackle unboxing. Pretty good one, if I may say so. Got the pack of trailers, the pack of swim baits, the couple jerk baits, the couple wake baits, and the Chapo. So as you can see, I'm moving a little bit more toward summer patterns with the swim baits, the top waters, the wake baits. So anyway, let's move on to the next unboxing that is from Land Big Fish and is thanks to Ray, aka Kid Iraq. Look at the action on this tail, guys. Good Lord. I have a feeling this thing's going to do well, but I also have a feeling that if you don't store it properly, like, it might kink up really bad. So, gosh, I need to throw this bait pretty soon too. So gorgeous. All right, guys. Sorry I haven't really been answering any questions or looking at the comments. I'd be happy to engage with you a little bit more moving forward. Yeah, totally agree, Will. Colin, are you saying the Sick Fish is the name of a bait? It sounds kind of familiar, but I can't remember. All right, guys, unboxing number 2. Ooh, look at the tail on this 9-inch Grubs. Was laying on the plastic for another pack of hooks, and it melted a piece of the tail. So something that happens. Yeah, I agree, Riley. Isn't it crazy how realistic that swim bait looks? I was really surprised by that. And I was kind of skeptical to try it just because, 13 Fishing is a rod and reel company that really has they haven't proven themselves whatsoever in bait making. So to see them just come out with like a dozen or more baits straight out of the gate, hard baits, soft plastics, and just kind of force their hand and dive into the industry, it was hard to support that. So I was a little bit skeptical, and I still am to a certain extent. I ordered one of their baits, the Topwater prop bait, and was not impressed at all. All right, guys. So this didn't really need to be inside such a large box. As you can see, it doesn't take up even half of the box. It's mostly soft plastics in here, and it's mostly Zoom baits, but you guys are going to want to stay freaking on here right now for a couple minutes because these colors are wicked, and I don't know that you can get them at many places on the regular. So Robert Sharp, so many of these fishy baits on the market now. Yeah, I totally agree, but why shouldn't there be, man? Isn't that really the way to go? It says, was wondering if you keep your plastic worms straight in the package or do you angle them at a certain way? It depends on the baits. So, you know, as you'll see over here, I've got soft plastics in these containers. So I've got worms in a couple of these, and what I make sure to do is use dividers that are going to not leave a ton of empty space next to the worms. You don't want them sliding around and kinking up too much. The issue that you're going to have is with the plastic leaning on the dividers. Over time, it will warp the plastic. So you're going to have to change out these plastic cases every couple of years at the very least. But sometimes I feel like it's worth it, you know, for specific techniques, you know, Nico / wacky worms. I think it's worth it. You know, these are 4.5 inch and 5 inch Nico and wacky rig worms specifically. And so I'll put them in here. But the main thing is to shorten and make sure the divider is exactly where it needs to be so that you don't have excess space. Does that make sense? Like look in here with these Kitex. I wasn't able to do it quite as well. I've got the 4.5s here, which fit quite well. But then over here, I've got the 4 inch and some 3.5 inch, and there's extra room, and these guys want to slide around. That ends up messing with the baits and the integrity of the baits. So, yeah, Justin, stay on, bro. Stay on, stay on. All right, guys, let me dive into this unboxing. Looks like I've got about 10 packs of soft plastics for you. And, you know, the reason that I got this package in the first place was this right here, guys. This is the Firecraw Jackhammer. This is the hardest to get bait on the market right now and has been for months. Okay, take a look at it. Fire engine red with a bright orange head. I paid full price on this, $15.99, and yeah, it's got a matte black painted head or painted blade, and I don't know why, but this color has just been selling like hotcakes. I think the pros had a lot of success on it. Last year didn't talk about it as much. This year, the secret came out, and everybody and their mom bought this bait. It has become very hard to come by. So I know that some people have managed to get their hands on them in the meantime, but mostly it's been hard. And so I got one. You know, I did have 2 in the cart initially, but once I added all these other things, I realized I had to take one out. So Riley says, I'm still trying to get my hands on the 3 that I'm waiting on. Yeah, I hear you, Riley. And that's the thing is, if you order them when they're not in stock and you get them back ordered, sometimes certain places, they can be back ordered forever. And I don't know if that's what happened to you or not, but that can be disappointing. Hey, Jay Wolf on Insta, I'm not going to bring anybody live with me right now just because it's a little bit too distracting for everybody else who's on YouTube and watching. There's 10 people on YouTube, 9 thumbs up. Really appreciate the support, guys. Let's dive into these soft plastics. Ooh, looks like there's one outlier. It is a soft plastic, but this guy is not a zoom bait. This is the Reaction Innovations Shiver Shot. And looking at it already, I know I should have gotten the bigger size. Shoot! This thing is cute, but boy, it is tiny. This is a small soft plastic jerkbait, and I think it was meant for like fluke fishing, drop shotting, and to go on as a chatterbait trailer. Now it has this tail which is flat. It is, what should I say, horizontal, not vertical. So in my opinion, it's better as a fluke style bait, twitching in the middle of the water column, than perhaps as a chatterbait, which I'd prefer a vertical style tail. But I will try rigging it every which way. And I did think this was going to fit a little bit better on a chatterbait, which at this size, I don't think it will. That tail is just barely going to stick out from the skirt. So I will throw this mostly on, a 1/0, maybe a 3/0 EWG hook, and see how she does, what the sink rate is like, and what the action is like, because there's a few appendages on here, and the tail is pretty cool. So the Shiver Shot is a bait that I've been curious about since it came out, I think, a year ago, but I don't love the way that Reaction Innovations packages their baits. The tails tend to get twisted up, and I do think they're just a little bit pricey in general. So whatever, got a pretty good deal on these. These ones were on sale when I bought them, so that's why I added them to the cart. Jackhammer, Shiver Shot, those were the first 2 main things. And then once I started digging around, what Land Big Fish has to offer with zoom baits, I kind of freaked out, and I added a crap ton to the order. What is this guy sitting in here? That doesn't fit. Here's a pack of Keitech. I've told you about this bait, so I'm not going to try and keep it a secret or anything. But guys, this is the Easy Shaker, specifically in the 4.5 inch. They make it in a few different sizes. I think they make it relatively small, maybe a 3.5, and they do make it in a 5.5. But this 4.5 inch size is killer on a drop shot, killer on a small shaky head, and really good on a chatterbait. So this is a sleeper bait that you guys need to know about. I already had a lot of confidence in this bait, and I just recently did some underwater footage with it, and my confidence kind of went through the roof. So here's what it looks like. It's a totally ribbed worm with fewer ribs and a narrower tail. Okay, totally ribbed bait, narrow tail. Here's the thing, the densities of the plastic are different in the top and the bottom of the bait. So it is made to sit horizontal in the water column when you rig it on a drop shot. So most drop shots, you work and the bait will come up and go down, right? And you leave it still and the bait's going to sink. This thing will stay neutrally buoyant. It's not going to float up like Z-Man baits will, where you have to keep it moving. Otherwise that tail goes up and it looks kind of funny like a shaky head in the middle of the water. Most salted worms will do the opposite and lay down if you kill it. This one stays horizontal. So I don't know about that, Guggen Slayer. It could be, but I'll tell you what, the Easy Shaker is a very underrated sleeper bait that I don't hear many people talk about, but I can confirm it looks killer underwater and it catches fish, and it's very versatile. You can work it in most finesse applications. So highly recommend you check it out, and they're pretty affordable too. 10 to a pack, and they're like $4-5. So Keitech Easy Shaker in a 4.5 inch. This is my confidence color. It's called Electric Bluegill. Absolutely love that. So that was the outlier. Sorry. Let's talk about these rare Zoom colors. Bridge Fishing, what's up, dude? Good to see you in here. All right, so where to start? Should we start with big worms or should we start with craws? You guys tell me. First person on YouTube to tell me. Big worms or craws? Darren says craws. We're starting with craws. We only got a pack or a couple packs of craws, and we got them in a color that is not super rare, but it seems to be sold out all the time, and that is Huckleberry. Okay, so here is the Zoom Ultra Vibe Speed Craw, standard size, and golly, this bait is so translucent that I'm gonna have to like put my hand up to let you guys see it. This is a light purple. It's pretty translucent, and it's got a lot of red flake on bottom and a lot of blue and red flake on top, or I've got that backwards. Blue and red with a lot of purple on bottom and a lot of red on top. Hard to see in this light. I'm going to have to talk about these more in the future, but guys, Huckleberry. These are not all special run colors. You can find these certain places, but if you look around, like Tackle Warehouse will have the Huckleberry in some baits, but I can almost guarantee they'll be sold out. So these come 12 to a pack, and none of these were on sale. So I paid full price for all of these Zoom baits, mostly just because the colors are wicked. I got the same color in the Z-Craw Junior. And quite honestly, the Z-Craw is a bait that I have a lot of confidence in as a swing head bait, but it's always been a pretty big bait in my opinion. And a couple of you guys here on YouTube have always suggested the Z-Craw Junior. And this is actually the first time that I've owned any. And I gotta say, just holding it right now, I love the size of it. But as I've always complained about, look at how the bait is just twisted. That's probably the case with half of the baits in this package. And the Z-Craw is one that's a little bit more expensive money per bait than the average Zoom bait. There's only 8 in a pack here. So, you get 12 with the Ultra Vibe Speed Craw. But this bait will be awesome as kind of a do-it-all, anything. It would be sweet on a swim jig, on a chatterbait, on a Texas rig, on a smaller football jig. You could really do anything with this. I think the Z-Craw Junior is like a 3.5 inch bait. So excited to try out this Huckleberry, especially in some of the craw colors. It's a little bit more natural. Might dig around to see if I've got a peanut butter and jelly jig that might go well with either one of those. And and slay in some clear water. So let's move on to some worms. I didn't realize about so many dang worms, guys. Holy shnikes. All right. Good Lord. All right, so this bait right here, guys, is a sleeper all around, and not to professionals, but to people who don't know the industry or know the brand Zoom very well. Again, it's not talked about very much, and this is the swamp crawler. They come 25 to a freaking pack, guys, but look at what makes these baits unique. They're super skinny. It's a very skinny skinny worm with a lot of action on it. This color here is called Watermelon Moon Dust. And I love it. It reminds me a lot of the color that Strike King just put out. And Guggen Baits has the color. So, anyway, Watermelon Moon Dust. It's a Zoom color that you don't hear about very frequently on a bait that you don't hear about very frequently. The swamp crawler is a 6.5-inch skinny worm. The best way to fish it is on a drop shot. Wacky rigged on a drop shot. That is kind of what is the deal. But you can fish it on a shaky head, lightweight shaky head, and it's killer too. So it has a lot of action, waving action. So check that one out, man. Watermelon Moon Dust, though. Sweet, sweet color. So we're going to start skinny and go a little bit bigger. So next is the Zoom Finesse Worm. Just going a little bit shorter, but staying skinny. So as you can see, this is not a very long bait and not a very thick bait. It is a finesse worm. So again, this is good on a drop shot. I would nose hook it on a drop shot most likely, more so than wacky rig, but you could do it either way. I would also rig this on a shaky head. I would rig this Nico rigged as well. The finesse worm, just like the trick worm from Zoom, is fairly buoyant. Does not have a lot of salt in it at all. This color here is called Killer Dawn. Okay, it's like a Morning Dawn, but it's called Killer Dawn, and that's because it has some of this flake in the top of it. It's like a purple flake in the blue portion of the bait. To those of you on Instagram, this looks a lot more purple than it actually is. It's a clearish blue on top, a little bit of purple in the middle, and a pink on bottom, with some purple flake in the top blue portion. Absolutely beautiful color, Killer Dawn. So that's another rare color. 22 a pack, guys. The Zoom Finesse Worm comes 22 a pack. So couldn't help myself there. Okay, stepping up is the Magnum Finesse Worm. Yeah, Riley. No, they're definitely rare colors. So I've talked about the Magnum Finesse Worm a number of times before, guys. This is one of my favorite baits that Zoom makes, period. This is up there. Definitely one of my top confidence baits for throwing on a Nico rig. Just because of its thickness, its buoyancy, the way that you can work the bait slow. It will have a ton of action when you work it. It starts pulsing, and then when you kill it, it will stay up and down for a few seconds. like you would expect. So guys on Instagram, I'm about to time out in 15 seconds. I'll go ahead and start this back over if you want, and I'll see you soon. So guys, this Magnum finesse worm, like I was saying, I will fish on a Nico rig the vast majority of the time. This color here is called Purple Passion. Gosh, you guys are going to have to wait till I post these on Instagram to really see the true colors in this. There's a ton of green flake, as you can see. I mean, just a ton of green flake. But this has a purple top and a green belly, kind of like a grass candy type of color. But I'm telling you, there's something more beautiful about this color than grass candy. So anyway, the Magnum finesse worm, I really like it on a smaller shaky head. I like it on a Nico rig. I like it on a wacky rig. Really good bait. It's super thick. So again, this is not a very cost-effective bait from Zoom. It comes in a 10-pack. So yeah, you're going to pay 40 cents a bait for the Magnum finesse worm, but it is worth it. Absolutely love the thickness of that bait. Now, one of the few baits I did not get is the trick worm. So we're going to skip the trick worm and go straight to the Magnum trick worm. I got 1 pack of the Magnum trick worms, and this in the Killer Dawn color as well. Owen Benson, when's your next giveaway? Next giveaway will be posted in a few days. Definitely next week. Looks like there's something inside this bait. That's so weird to see. But check this out, guys. I don't have any Magnum trick worms in my arsenal until now. And of course, the first color I get is a wild one, the Killer Dawn. So just like you see with the Magnum finesse worm, it is tapered and then goes a little fatter to a bulbous tail. These things are surprisingly buoyant because of the lack of salt that is in them. And they're awesome, rigged kind of however you like to fish a bigger worm. They don't have a ton of action. There's not a curled tail or a kicking tail at all. So it is a little bit more of a slow presentation type of worm, more of a middle of the summer type of worm. And this color is going to be more for clear water. Again, that's called Killer Dawn. You get a clearish blue top, a layer of purple in the middle, and then a pink bottom. And it's not showing up well on either platform. It's too light for you guys on YouTube and too dark for you on Instagram. So I apologize, guys. Dr. Steve Robb says, when catfish live streams? Dude, I don't do any catfish fishing. So I'm so misinformed that I would say the best catfish baits are either a ball of dough with different flavoring and, you know, foods and maybe even like chips, you know, batter and random stuff that's just stinky. Or you go noodling and you stick your hand in a hole when the catfish are bedding. Dude, I don't freaking know. I'm sorry to tell you, Steve, but I am not a cat fisherman. I fish for bass. I fish for trout. I fish for crappie. Fish for walleye. I am a multi-species fisherman, but catfishing is just a different experience and usually not very fun for me. I don't like the type of fishing where you're just casting your bait out there and then setting it down and waiting for a bite. That's usually not my style. So anyway, the Magnum trick worm is a 7.5 or 8-inch bait. It's a long worm and it's thick. So these come 8 to a pack. Again, not super cheap, but killer bait and one that I'm excited to throw on a Magnum shaky head. You know, I'm not quite sure how I'm going to throw this bait. just yet, but might throw it on a wacky rig. I got 2 more, guys. 3 more. All right, this is the Magnum Ultra Vibe Speedworm. HDG, what's your opinion on the best worm for summer in Texas? I don't fish in Texas, but dude, that's a lot of questions you're asking. Are you talking about Texas rigged, or you live in Texas and you're going fishing? Look at this freaking worm, guys. Oh my gosh. So I will tell you right now, I have the Ultra Vibe Speed Worm in like 3 or 4 different colors, and I absolutely love it. I've showed you guys this box that I have multiple times that is like strictly dedicated to. Oh no, I moved them. I put them back in their bags because they were warping these. So I've got a couple of the Strike King Rage Tail. What do they call it? I forget what they call their swimming worm, but the Ultra Vibe Speed Worm from Zoom is sweet, and it's like a 6.5-inch bait. But this guy, the Magnum Ultra Vibe Speed Worm, is ridiculous, guys. This is one of the fattest worms that I own. I would say it's right up there, just about the same thickness as this 9-inch Grubs from Z-Man. I mean, holy crap. And it's not going to be quite as thick as like the giant TRD from Z-Man. But again, this is one of the few worms that even flirts with that size. So absurdly large. And of course, you'd have to rig this on a 5/0 or larger size hook, either an EWG or a flippin' style hook. This color here, I'd never heard of before. It's called Old Purple, and it is literally like a straight up purple color. So, wow, that light is doing weird things. So the tail is thicker and bigger on this worm, and the worm is thick. I'm pretty excited about this. These come 8 to a pack as well. Guggen Slayer. It is a dong of a worm. It's gigantic. Come B, are you pro-gun? We're not going to talk about politics on this stream right now, dude. Darren, what does the tail do in the water with this speed worm? Dude, it kicks just like a swim bait. It is awesome. Try those standard Ultra Vibe Speed Worm made by Zoom, and you will not be disappointed. I'm telling you. And it's a good deal. They come like 15 to a pack, those ones, whereas that Magnum is 8 to a pack. So you get twice the value, and I'm pretty convinced that the fish will bite it more frequently. Let me see if they're in here. No, I forget where I put them. I see them over there. But anyway, that regular Ultra Vibe Speed Worm is sweet, dude. It's long enough to have a substantial profile at like 6 inches long. You can rig it on a 4/0 hook and a lightweight bullet weight, and it's killer. Riley, yeah, it's just a couple of the soft plastics that I've got that I don't really have a place for up on the wall at the moment. Not really sure what to do. So anyway, yeah, HDG. I'm sorry I didn't answer your question, but I'm glad that Riley could hop on there. Riley's going to be in Texas if she's not already there already. It's not the size of the worm; it's how you use it, says Dan the Man. So true. Darren says, fishing with Norm, always fish with them, but I never use them. Yeah, I'll tell you what, Darren, down in Florida, the Ultra Vibe Speedworm is like the deal. People just throw it. So around grass, the Ultra Vibe Speedworm is killer. You can rig it weedless and throw it in and around the grass. Just pitch it into holes. Just adjust your weight and play around. So check this out. This is the standard Ultra Vibe Speedworm. This is a red shad, a little bit redder than shad, but much more manageable size, Darren. So I usually used to rig it with the tail up, but I've found that it really doesn't matter. And a lot of these that are laminated actually have it such that if you put the light side on top, the tail will be laying flat. But it doesn't matter. This thing has an absurd amount of action on the swim. So this is a really cool hybrid between a swim bait and a worm. I like it a lot better than most curly tail worms. Just tell you that right now. It has become a big confidence bait for me over the last year or two. So I've got two more baits. So this is called the Mag 2. You guys have probably heard of this bait. AKM says he lives in Florida, catches so many with the Ultra Vibe Speedworm in the weeds. I hear you, man. So the Mag 2 worm is a 9-inch soft plastic worm made by Zoom. As you can see, it's got about a 5-inch body and 4 inches worth of tail. So if I curl up the tail for you, you can see that it is not a super big worm. You can fish this on a 3, 4, even 5/0 hook if you wanted to, but this is a very common worm. Ton of swimming action. Not sure if you saw, but it's got a kind of a funny shape to the tail. Flares out, and it's got some really good swimming action, pretty aggressive, and you can fish this a lot of different ways. I prefer this on a shaky head, but a lot of guys would throw this on a Carolina rig, Texas rig. This color here is called Raspberry Shad, and it is super cool. It's got a green top, pink bottom, and some red flake in it, and I'm loving it. The Mag 2 comes in 22 a pack, guys. So if you like a curly tail worm, if you're going to hop your Texas rig baits off the bottom, this is a good one to do that with. If you want to step up and go with a bigger worm, hey Darren, God bless you as well, man. Have a good rest of your night. This is the Old Monster by Zoom. A little bit bigger bait. I think it's 10.5 inches. And again, this is another watermelon moon dust color. So let's see how well you can see it now. That green top in blue with blue flake belly. Watermelon, moon dust. Watermelon, moon dust. Gorgeous. And again, this is essentially similar to the last bait. A little bit different tail. It's got a wider curl to it, so it's going to have a wider swimming action, and it's got about an extra inch on the body. So this is just a larger profile worm, and they come 9 to a pack. So quite honestly, I would be a lot more likely to stock up on the Mag 2s than the Old Monsters, but that's just first impressions more than anything. We'll see what sort of results I get, and once I see them underwater, I'll be curious to know, and then I'll relay back to you guys what I think the differences are, really. So, all right, guys. So that does it for the unboxings. Tons of new stuff, and I gotta say, I'm pretty pumped about all of it. This is going to be one that gets a lot of my attention soon. This 3-inch Megabass Spark Shad on the Megabass Okashira Screwhead. I've already got this pairing and have a ton of confidence in it, but not this color yet. Really stoked about these 3-hook 95mm jerk baits. These 3D color pattern wake baits. Pretty much everything. Riley says a package of mine is in the mail right now. That is pretty wicked. I'm stoked to hear that. So anyway, guys, let's just continue the conversation on YouTube. Let's hang out for a little bit longer. I'm going to dip out somewhat shortly here. I think I'm going to hop off of Instagram now, just because there's really not many people hanging out in here. It's just Dan and Riley. So Dan, I appreciate you being so nice with that comment, saying that I'm an inspiration, but you can't catch a bass to save your life. Sorry to hear that, man. I wonder if it's where you're fishing or what you're throwing or how you're fishing the baits, but sorry to hear that, man. Riley says, I got my diesel minnows in before I left, but 12 packs, 2-inch, 12 packs, 2-inch, the 5-inch, 2 in the 6-inch, and the rest in the 7-inch, and gave 6 of them to my friend who got robbed hundreds of dollars worth of tackle. What? That is, your friend got robbed, Riley? That's super sad to hear. Hate to hear that. And yeah, really generous of you to give half of them to your friend. I don't think the diesel minnows come in a 2-inch, or you said 2 in the 5-inch, 2 in the 6, and the rest in the 7. Interesting. They don't make a 6-inch. They make 4, 5, and 7. But anyway, sorry to hear about your friend getting robbed. So, guys, Dan, thanks for hanging out tonight, man. I'm going to hop off of Instagram. Just kind of wrap things up with the folks on YouTube. Dan, if you're not already subscribed to me on YouTube, do me that solid, man. I'm going to be releasing some content over there that doesn't show up over here. I've been doing more live streams on YouTube and not on Instagram. So check me out over there, man. Have a good rest of your night. Cheers. Okay, to those of you on the tube, let's just chat for a little bit. Let me know if you have any questions. I can tell you a little bit about what I've been fishing recently. I've only had the chance to go out fishing a couple times in the last week or two. Yeah, you're right, Guggen Slayer. The diesel minnows can be a little bit tricky to rig. You have to be confident, and you have to be steady with rigging straight to get it to not be kinked up, and you really have to know where you're supposed to come out. But the cool thing is you can re-rig. You can keep trying over and over and over and not really mess the baits up too much. So action is good, though. I definitely think the diesel minnows have a nice medium action where the bait actually has a little bit of roll. The tail has a good kick without being, over the top. Like I think oftentimes a Keitech or a Rage Swimmer can have a very wide kick to it. The diesel minnows is a little less pronounced than that. But like other soft plastics, once you rig this, get it wrong, unrig it, rig it, nope, then you've ruined the bait at that point. So that's one big advantage to Z-Man Elastec soft plastics for sure. William gave a homemade bait of his. My party is hydro dipped black and blue. He said you don't have to use it. What? What are you talking about, Riley? Yeah, no, I totally agree, Guggen Slayer. But I mean, you said it yourself, right? Those minnows have good action, but can be tricky to rig. I think that's most people's hangup is just the struggle to get it rigged properly and swim right, and so people give up on it too early or unnecessarily without knowing that it's actually not that difficult. It can be tricky if you don't know what you're doing or don't practice or haven't seen it before, but it's pretty straightforward. And once you get the hang of it, I think you really come to appreciate how durable and long lasting those plastics are. Um, I've had a lot of my 4-inch diesel minnows for a year, going on 2 years now. All right, Riley. So what? You threw it in the package for me, or in what package? I didn't know you were sending me a package. I thought there was just something, a Firecraw jackhammer coming from BPS or something like that. Riley, you don't need to be sending me anything, quite frankly. But who's that package going to that includes your friend's hydro dipped homemade bait and a little 6th Sense surprise you mentioned? Is that a package for me? What are you talking about? I wanted to mention, guys, the one with the Chapo and the special style baits is going to you, Riley. I know you mentioned that Chapo. I forgot about that. You're too generous, and I appreciate you. I'm going to have to send you a package right back again. So, guys, I showed you this bait like a week ago or so when I opened it. This is the 6th Sense Speed Wake. And oh my gosh, look at that bill, first of all. It's super wide and super flat. This thing stays on the surface and it swims as fast as you want it. Look at how aggressive that joint is. You can truly burn this bait. It is wicked. And I've only had the chance to fish it once, but I really gave it a go in burning it. I was limited on time and on sunlight. I was fishing sunrise and got there just a little bit late. So this bait became not very effective once the sun came up and was on the water. So I only got to throw it for about 20 minutes, but that bait is absolutely ridiculous. And I think it's going to be a killer. I think this would be a good nighttime bait, though. I haven't seen it on a slow retrieve, but in dirty water, burning this thing on the surface. Listen to that. Guys, I mean, most 6th Sense baits do not have a rattle in them that is that loud. This is a very unique sound that I would not expect out of 6th Sense, and I love it. So Guggen Slayer, you throw wake baits more than most. You ought to look at this one for sure. It's out of stock at the moment, but I would highly consider putting it on your wish list and keeping an eye out. I'm probably going to get 1 or 2 more of them once I see them in stock. I'm going to get colors that are a little bit more practical to throw all throughout the day. I do like getting a nice little midday topwater bite if and when I can. I've got a Whopper Plopper 75 in the bone color tied on right now. and I've been throwing that randomly, just at all hours of the day. So Riley says, I rarely fish with those, but I fish them for tournaments, and I have a couple, and I don't have opens in those wakes and 6 cents baits. Wait, what? You haven't opened those wake baits or 6 cents baits. Why not? And Guggen Slayer, why can't you fish for a couple months, dude? That's sad to hear. I feel like there were a couple more baits that I wanted to show you guys while we were on. But I can't remember. Here's that black, silvery shad color of the spark shad. The spark shad is a sweet little soft plastic swim bait. Not sure if you guys have thrown it yet or not, but definitely worth a look. And I'm not surprised to have heard that it's a sleeper on a drop shot. You know, a bait of this size, you need to consider throwing it in a few different presentations. You know, swimming it with a ball head or a swim bait jig head. You need to work it like a drop shot, and you also need to fish it like a Ned head or something that's going to really be more on the bottom. Oh, you hurt your arm car topping your kayak. Oh, that's brutal, man. Sorry to hear that. So you're out of commission, man. Shoulder surgery, only 1 week in. Ouch. Sorry to hear that, dude. So rough. Riley has so many, but she hasn't opened them. You mean you just have them like up on your wall, or you've just got boxes full of unopened baits, Riley? Question is why stock up on things if you're not going to open them, put them in boxes, and plan to use them, if not actually use them? You know, I immediately opened these wake baits and will be putting them in my box with my other wake baits ASAP. Oh, where's the top water box? Not sitting here. Riley, how's your shoulder doing right now? Well, that's good to hear that the operation was successful. But yeah, the patiently waiting is not always so easy. I hear you on that front. Yeah, there's a few of us in this room right now that are all in some physical pain and on the road to recovery. So sorry to hear that you're just so early in, and I wish you well in your recovery, man. Riley says, because my partners and people I know buy some when they run out and can't find them anymore, so I'm like a backup only for certain baits. You buy some when they run out and can't find them anywhere. Interesting. Shoulder's a lot better. You're off pain meds. That's good. Working out a lot more. Back to full-time work. Right on. Good for you, Riley. Glad to hear it. And my back is actually doing a little bit better as well. Haven't had as many flare-ups in the last couple of weeks. Doing a bit more physical activity. Being more active in yard work and things like that. More confident to do heavier lifting and kind of do anything and everything. But of course, I'm still definitely capable of overdoing it. So steady progress, you know. I'm just going to start doing a little bit more heavy weightlifting here in the next couple of months, but need to actually join a gym and come to feeling comfortable with going into a gym before I do that. So for now, it's mostly just body weight exercises and lightweight exercises. But even things like push-ups, are helping me keep a lot of parts of my core, my shoulders, my back in decent shape. So, all right, guys, where's that freaking box? There was one box that I wanted to talk about or show you guys. I don't seem to see it. All right, I got a couple boxes. This gets disorganized after a while, guys. So here are some things that I've had on the go with me and really haven't thrown, but how about that Ketchko baby bull shad with that VMC hybrid bladed treble rigged on the front? Really need to dedicate some time to throwing that bait because I know that will get crushed. I'm kicking myself a little bit for not throwing this lipless crankbait this spring. Can anybody guess what lipless crankbait this is? I'll give you 5 seconds. Who makes this lipless crankbait? Super high pitch, small bait. This is a tiny size, but it weighs 3/8 ounce, not a quarter. So a lot of smaller size lipless crankbaits are going to come in this 1/4 ounce size. This guy comes in the 3/8. This is the Yo-Zuri, not the LV. This is Yo-Zuri. Okay. Put my chatterbait box back up. And then here's this is one of my top water boxes. And so in it, yeah, I've got these Strike King KVD 2.5 wake baits. You can see it's a fatter body. And listen to the rattle. Very loud knock in there compared to, this Yo-Zuri 3D-R. This is the gizzard shad. This is a green gizzard shad. So in the right light, these will actually look somewhat similar. Not sure how well you can see those backs are pretty dang similar. It's just once you get into the translucency, this guy's a bit more clear with a little bit of purple sheen on it. And this guy is super reflective. But listen to the Yo-Zuri. Not much knock to it. It's got a lot of rattle, whereas the Strike King just has a knock, a loud one. So these guys are pretty similar in size, both in that kind of 2.5 size range. And then, like I said, the 6 Sense Movement 80 has that loud knock sound. Not a rattle, but a knock. So this one's just a little bit longer, the one from 6 Sense, than either of those other two baits that I just showed you, but they all really fit into that same category. And what I like about a wake bait is that you can work it in a few more scenarios than a standard topwater. So let me look at these questions real quick. Riley says, Tyler, you have to try out this 6 Sense black light swim jig, ½ ounce with a black and blue Rage swimmer. Caught the 4 3/4 inch or 4 3/4 pounder. I caught in the 4.75. Okay, I caught a 4-pound bass on it. Some small ones Saturday during my tournament. Well, that sounds like a pretty wicked combo, and I'm glad that that you caught some good fish on it. How'd you finish in the tournament, Riley? So in this box, I've also got, my topwater walking baits. Here's that new Catwalk from 6 Sense. We've got poppers, we've got walking baits, wake baits, prop baits. I've actually got a prop bait tied on right now on one of my other rods. Sleeper topwater type of bait. And I've got rats. I actually have one of the Spro BBZ Rat 40s tied on right now as well. Caught a few good bass on it the other night. Love that rat in the 40 size. I have it in every single size. They make it in a baby 25. They make it in a standard finesse 30 size, which is good on a spinning rod. They make it in a 40, which is awesome on any bait caster. And they make it in a 50, which you really need to throw on like a swim bait setup, just because it weighs over 2 ounces and is pretty huge. So anyway, let me show you how big that rat looks, by the way. Here's that 50. As you can see, this one doesn't have really many teeth marks on it because I haven't had gear that has let me be confident enough to throw it until this year. So now that I have my swim bait set up, it's something that I feel I'm not going to break the rod or snap the lure off due to the weight of the lure. I intend to throw this a little bit more, but look at that. I mean, this is a massive bait that that fish just come up and destroy. It's 10 inches from top to bottom, and yeah, massive bait. Savage Gear makes a similarly sized one. What's cool about the one from Savage Gear is that it actually has a hook hanger where you could put a stinger hook on top of the bait and rest it in the top here. And there's 2 hook hangers up front, so you can rig down here by the lip, and this thing will run on the surface, and you rig it here on the nose, and it's going to want to dive just a little bit, somewhere between a few inches and maybe a foot below the surface, like more of a wake bait compared to a topwater. So these big rats are something that I am looking forward to doing more of this year, especially when it comes to night fishing. I think rats really do best during the night. That's when rats are most likely to come out in the water. And it's such an effective, slow-moving bait. It has a very rhythmic sound. Even when you work the bait super slow, that knocking sound you can hear from a mile away. Just you can swim this bait really slowly on the surface and get some vicious bites. So again, that 40 size that's a little bit smaller, that weighs like an ounce, is the one that I have a ton of confidence in. But I also really like the 30 on Finesse Gear, and I'm excited to throw this 50 more this year on my swim bait setup. Riley says I got 8th place with 7 pounds total for 3 fish. Good for you. That's pretty good showing. How's your wife doing at work? How have the girls been? Appreciate you asking, Riley. The girls have been well. My wife's dad just wrote a beautiful song for the girls and shared it with us this morning. So the girls are doing well. Not really feeling the effects of COVID too much. My wife is working a little bit more than average, but she's doing pretty well. And so all is good in our house. Brian Waterman in the building. What's up, dude? We've been on for an hour and 40 minutes, and you just show up out of nowhere, bro. How you doing? You missed all the action, dude. You're probably going to want to rewatch some of this. There have been some really cool baits that I've showed on this stream. But yeah, it's getting a little bit late here. It's 10:30 my time. And like I said, I've been really sick for the last 48 hours. Really only kind of got over it today. Haven't eaten much or drank much. I am still dehydrated. Really shouldn't be drinking this beer, but I am. So I'm going to finish it and head on to bed here shortly. But it's weird seeing this guy look so naked right now. But where did I just put that shad a few minutes ago? I want to show Brian. Where'd I put the shad, yo? Aha, I did. I put it in the box. You guys watched me. Yeah, Riley, I haven't fished a spider, but to me, a spider, I don't know. I mean, I think it could be done well, but I think the one made by Lunker Hunt, that might be the only one on the market right now, looks like it has really small hooks, and the hookup ratio on it is going to be significantly worse than on a standard hollow body frog. So I'm not very confident in a rat, or in a spider, but a rat, it has treble hooks hanging from the bottom. And like I said, it's a wake bait, very slow moving presentation, does remarkably well at nighttime, easy for fish to track, and they will bite it. So you should have some confidence in a rat. Brian, check this out, dude. Appreciate the advice about orange juice. I just thought it might burn my throat. I was vomiting a lot 2 nights ago and into yesterday. So this is the 13 Fishing Bamf shad, B-A-M-F, like badass mofo. And this is rigged on the Owner 6/0 beast hook. So as you can see, the collapsibility of this bait is fantastic because it is super hollow, wide open there. So the hook will just push straight up in there and can literally push like all the way through. So hookup ratio is going to be fantastic, guys. The plastic feels soft, but not too soft. I gotta say, initial impressions of this bait, very good. So I'm excited to have this, and I'm pretty pumped that I decided to get it. I was on the fence about it for a while because you pay something like $6 a bait for them, which is, same ballpark as this one, which is the this is the Beast Coast 6.5 creep. The Beast Coast Miyagi is a big confidence bait for me. That's closer to this size. Also works great on a 6/0 beast hook. Those come 3 to a pack for like $10. And I've talked about them quite a lot, including on our last stream. But they make a 6.5 creep, and these sell for $12 for a 2-pack. And in comparison, I think this is a higher quality bait. And I don't know how they're poured, what makes them different. These, all the Beast Coast baits, are mechanically hand poured, but this is a much stiffer bait. Look at the tail. When I hold this up and down, the tail doesn't even bend over. I mean, this bait is not that much of a creeping style bait. And I lost my first one when creeping it just because it hit a rock and then that hook came out just a little bit and got snagged. So I don't know. Honestly, I'm excited about this Banff shad, and I will report back on it, guys. 7-Up or ginger ale and crackers is always the best, and soup. Yep, definitely had my fair share of soup in the last day or two. Chicken broth is what my wife has been suggesting more than anything. Guggen Slayer says, I know one lake that nighttime big bait bite is almost on all season. Right on, dude. Sweet. Okay, guys. I guess the only other thing to do would be to show you this guy rigged up. So, let me show you. I knew I happened to have a jackhammer handy somewhere close by, and you know, this is actually the one that I retied, so the color's not like it should be. So maybe I'll actually grab a fresh one. But the color I'm looking for here is the Beehite Delight. All right, I've got one that I've already used before, so I'll use that to rig it. And this one might be an example of one that the skirt needs to be replaced. But Brian, here's the one other thing that I got that I'm really excited about, and it's this chatterbait trailer. So I'm going to rig it now, and it will be rigged until it comes back off. But this is the Yamamoto Seiko in the green pumpkin chartreuse color. Chatter Daddy. Oh, no way, Riley. Lost a $50 lure? Oh. Do you think it was really worth it catching a fish on like the next cast? You lost a $50 lure. That's brutal. Sorry to hear that. Okay, guys. So, as you know by now, the Jackhammer Chatterbait has a double barbed wire keeper. That thing will hold your trailers on better than any other type of keeper. But once you pull it out of the bait, it shreds the plastic. You cannot reuse that bait once you rig it and then pull it off. So you want to make sure you get this right on the first go. You line it up there and you see exactly where it needs to come out, and that is just before these segmented tails. So the other thing you want to make sure is where you want to keep this rigged, and that is pretty much at where the color line is. So I'm going to come straight down the bait. Where's Ryan when you need him to make fun of my concentration? Okay, I'm going to poke it out there. Make sure that it's coming out at the place that I want it. Okay, and that I think it's rigged on there straight. Now, in one swift motion, I'm going to shove it straight up onto the shank. And that keeper is going to lock onto the soft plastic. And voila, we have our perfectly rigged and perfectly matched jackhammer chatterbait in the Beehite Delight color. And if I may say so myself, I think this color is delightful. Green pumpkin, chartreuse. Look at that. I mean, that may or may not be going up on Instagram in the next couple of days. So I fished this bait a fair amount. As you can see, the blade is chipping quite a bit. The paint, the head has been scratched on rocks on the bottom, and then you can't quite see, but the skirt is starting to fall apart, and the tie on there is just starting to come loose. So what I'm going to want to do sooner than later is put another wrap of braid around here. Like I showed you guys last video, it's very easy. You just use a uni knot and slip it over the skirt. You know, once you have this skirt separated, right? So something like this, for example, you just slip the uni knot right over and then tighten it down and trim the tag ends, and I find that holds it quite well. So I'll do that maybe 2 times on one bait to hand tie a skirt, but I will need to do that shortly. So beautiful color, right, guys? Anyway, that's pretty much going to do it. I know I'm really focused, Riley. Thank you very much. Of course, someone had to do it. Brian, I find that this color works quite well in all water conditions. A little bit better in stained, not quite dirty, but stained and clear water. Does a really good job of imitating a bluegill. And most of the time, with a chatterbait like this, I'm working it at a medium or medium fast speed. So not too worried about colors in clear water, but I would have confidence to throw this in clear water because a lot of bluegills are very bright on bottom. So you just fish this where you're fishing around bluegill as the main source of forage, and you will get bites no matter the water clarity. So Guggen Slayer, look for the hottest line of docks or bank brush on the lake, then go back at night with a rat and dead stick the rat with small twitches. Interesting. I believe that. I have no doubt that would work well. But yeah, it's interesting. I've found that most of my success with rats has been like at the end of a retrieve, right? I find that it gets a lot of followers. It has extreme drawing power, but then usually when I get to the edge before I pull the bait up or before I get to a clump of grass or whatever, before the bait's going to get snagged up, when I kill it, then I usually get a lot of my bites kind of at the last second, if you will. So also on a stop and go type of retrieve. So that makes perfect sense. I'm not surprised to hear that. Thanks for the advice, man. All right, guys, I think I'm going to dip out of here. I'm heading up to the mountains with my family tomorrow for a little Father's Day weekend. Going to do some ultralight fishing for some trout again. I will report back early next week. My wife is not working again until next Friday night, so I will probably stream once next week during the week, and I'll try to give you guys a little bit of a heads up before I do that. I'm sorry that I've done such a bad job of doing that until now, guys, but moving forward, I'm going to do a better job. In fact, what I think I want to do is create an email list for you guys to sign up and me to be able to send out notifications same day, day before, whenever, to let you guys know that I'm going live, or that I posted a video, or that I found a good deal, or whatever it is. Would you guys be cool to sign up for an email notification letter from me? Brian wants to watch some fishing videos. Yeah, hopefully maybe you'll see some soon. again, I don't know how interesting they're going to be for you guys to watch. But anyway, we'll talk about that more in the future. Appreciate you guys watching, hanging out tonight. Really pumped about some of these new baits that I got, and yeah, have a good one. Until next time, cheers, guys. Tight lines. Stay safe. God bless.